Hi, I'm Jim Morgan, Vice President of Talent Strategies at MRA, and also the person responsible for our AI initiatives. And it's my pleasure to share some of the things that we're up to here for you to discuss in your roundtable. To begin with, I think we've got to take a look at here's what's happening. The pace of change has never been this fast, yet it'll never be this slow again. So think about that for a moment. But I think that's a lot of what AI has done, and it's kind of where we're at right now. And so companies are having to make a choice here that says, how are we going to utilize AI? Are we using it simply to defend ourselves, meaning we get it, we've got to participate in order to just survive? Are we doing it to extend, meaning we're going to use this to improve our products and services, to enhance what our customers see in their experience? Or maybe we're going to go all in and say we're going to upend an industry. We're going to completely change what we're doing, the way we're doing it, and truly have an impact. And so you're now dealing with people within your organizations that probably fall somewhere on this scale from AI, I thought that was a rapper, all the way up to I, for one, welcome our robot overlords. And there's everything in between. And so understanding where our folks are at, understanding what our corporate philosophy towards AI is, are going to be important as we try to figure out, okay, where is it that we want to go? So let's just start with, what is this all about? Think about this for a minute. This is how long it took four different industries to reach 100 million users. If I go back to Uber, that took 5, 6 years for them to get to 100 million. If I move up to the iPhone, that took less than 4 years. And then you get to ChatGPT, and that took less than 2 months. So that's how quick some of these things are happening. And you're seeing it now with a tech mindset. And a lot of us, especially in the upper Midwest, we look at things, we build things, we make lawnmowers and snowblowers. And in order to do that, we've got to do them relatively well and make sure they're right when they leave our organization. Whereas a tech mindset is a little bit different. It's much more of a ready, fire, aim. Let's put together a really good technological product. Let's throw it out there to the people, and then they will yell and scream and tell us what's wrong, and then we'll fix it and we'll come up with version 2, version 3, version 7, version 12 until we eventually get it right. That's foreign to a lot of us because we'd never think about, well, let's make a lawnmower and we'll throw it out there and just hope the blades don't fall off. And if they do, people will let us know and we'll fix it. It doesn't work that way. But it is the way that it works in technology, which is why we're on the iPhone 18 and all those types of things, because it's iteration after iteration as they try to get things exactly where they want them to be. So when you think of it that way, then it begins to make a little bit more sense in terms of, all right, I see what's sort of happening out there. So now we're seeing most of our time right now in most organizations being spent on generative AI. ChatGPT, Grok, Claude, Gemini, all those things where you can put in a question or put in a prompt and it'll give you something back. And it's really just a way of taking information, learning from it, and providing us with something else. And so it's become sort of the go-to now for a lot of organizations to just do some simple things, look at letters, take bits of data and do things with it. It's so much more than that, but we'll focus on the generative because that's quite frankly where a lot of people are right now. So as you begin to look at it just in HR, let's just start with this. Every organization really needs to keep a human in the loop. And I think where companies get into trouble is they just think, well, we're just going to put this in there, it'll spit something out, and we'll just send it out to the world. It doesn't work that way. There are still errors, there are still risks. So just to begin with, my first piece of advice would be there's a human in the loop. And I think the best way I can describe it is think of AI as an intern at your organization. You want it to do some work for you, you expect it to produce some products for you, but you're still going to look it over before it goes anywhere. And there are a lot of tools out there now, and you'll have to do your own evaluation of things. There's just the generative, like I've mentioned, but now there's specific types of software and different types of AI that's meant to do specific things. Candidate assessment, customer engagement, learning and development. They're growing every day. You're seeing new products, which makes it hard for people to really try to keep up on everything that's happening. But if I use the generative, and let me just give you a couple of simple examples, with some people use it to write job descriptions. I've got a job, I need to have a description for a machinist. I type in, give me a good job for a machinist. And the better the prompt, the better the response. So if you say it's a machinist to do this for a company that makes these products, you'll get a much better answer. But if I just say, give me a job overview for a machinist, it will give me a job overview for a machinist. It's not going to be exactly what you're looking for, but it'll give you a pretty good start, and then you can work from that. And then I can go farther and say, well, tell me what the responsibilities of a machinist might be. So I can type into ChatGPT, what are the responsibilities of a machinist? And if I just say it that generally, I'll get general descriptions back, like the ones on this responsibility. If I were to put in there specifically what that company or what that person needs to be able to do, then I'll get a better response back. And then once I have that, I can say, all right, well, then tell me what the requirements for this job might be. And it can give me some things to start to think about. As you look at it, you can just see, okay, this is a start. I'm going to have to make it specific to my company or to my job, but at least it saved me a little bit of trouble of getting going. And then further, if I want to say, you know what, we want to have career paths here so we can keep people interested in their job. So I can say, can you put together 3 levels of a career path for a machinist? Sure. So I can put together here the responsibilities, skills, and next steps for an entry level. And then I can say, give me a 2 and a 3. And so I have an intermediate machinist and I have a senior machinist. So the purpose of these examples is just to show you, I don't have to sit there and think and get a bunch of people together and round them up and say, what should be in here? I can get a good start and I can edit from there. And so it speeds up the process a little bit for you. So just to get you thinking and helping you kind of start, this is what we're telling companies to do when they're having discussions about AI. One, put together a user policy, something that helps people understand, okay, what is it that we can and cannot do? Where are the lines drawn? So at least we've got some idea of what's a red light, what's a yellow light, and a green light. Don't be putting company data in. Don't be doing social security numbers. Don't be putting anything around compensation in. All of those are no's. Put up the guardrails so people know exactly where they're supposed to go. Put someone in charge, and whether it's an individual or a department, a place where people can go that if they've got a question, at least someone can say, yeah, we should do that, or no, we shouldn't do that, or let me talk to some people and get back to you. But at least they've got somewhere to go to have a conversation. Do an inventory of activity. Ask your people who's using ChatGPT, who's using Claude, who's using whatever it might be, because your folks are using it. And I think we have to accept the fact that that's happening. And so we really need to get out in front and say, what's our philosophy on this? Do a survey of your employees. Ask them, how do they feel about AI? Are they using AI? Are they comfortable with AI? Are they worried about it? So at least you've got sort of that starting point that says, okay, this is where we're at. And then we can see maybe where our education needs to take place and what we need to tell people about. And identify some user cases. What are you trying to do with this? And say, okay, we're trying to streamline some processes so that they're just repetitive. We want machine to do part of it. And so you can put those together and say, okay, here's some examples of some of the things that we're trying to do. So let me just give you a couple of thoughts on here's some things that companies are doing with it. We have a computer support company. Everything they have is in the Microsoft family. So they've integrated Copilot, Office, OneNote, and Teams. So everything's in there. So now if you want to have the employee handbook in there so people can reference it, it's there. If you've got business processes that you want to document and have standard operating procedures for, it's there. And so a new employee can come in and just search using Copilot to say, find these things for me that are on our drive that's shared amongst everybody. And it's within our company, so it's safe. And now I can go find those things. They're using it for recording calls where they do very long sales calls. So usually it would be take notes for an hour, try to write everything down, and then try to summarize it, and then maybe a week later get the information back to their client. Now they're just recording those. It runs a transcript at the end, and it would also tell you, here's who committed to what, here are some of the follow-ups. Again, you can't just take it and run, but everything has been summarized for you. And now all you have to do is review it and get it back to the customer, probably the same day, saying, here's our summary of what we think we talked about. Does this look right to you? And save them hours of time trying to recreate all of this and got them back to the customer a little bit quicker. And then lastly, their system is connected to Salesforce. And so they're using it as their customer relations model and have built what they call a health score. And they identified the things that make for a good customer. And whether that's amount of money spent, last time that we had a contact, number of products purchased, whatever it might be, they've said, okay, this is what we're looking for. And now every customer of theirs has a health score that if they want to look at, okay, where do we stand with our companies right now? There they are on a scale of 1 to 100. This person's got a 95. We're taking great care of them. They're very happy. This one has a score of 10. We probably should look into that. We might have some issues there. And so they're using it, and now it learns from itself to say, these are the things that make a good customer. And so that health score can just continue to get better and better. And so that's all being driven by artificial intelligence within their company. So here are some samples of this is how people are using it. Talent acquisition, variety of different ways around screening, predicting future performance, being used in learning and development, creating micro learnings, helping the learning be personalized. If people know certain things, you can skip that part of the learning because they've already been assessed on it. So it's very predictive of that individual. Used for employee engagement, asking people questions, collecting all of the data, and in all kinds of different automation where if you have anything that you're doing that just takes a lot of time and is repetitive, that's probably a good candidate to be used in some sort of workflow improvement utilizing AI. So there are a million tools out here. Here's just a few of them. And really, I think what I have to say is go look at them, see what they do, find out what's going on with them, what are the things that they're good at. And I think what you're going to see in this is everybody has a product out there. And eventually, someone's going to learn. Somebody's going to have the best talent acquisition product. Someone's going to have the best employee engagement product. And you're going to start to see all of the others sort of fall to the wayside. Similar to how Google has sort of dominated the internet, this is what's going to happen with AI too. But I think you've got to get in and dig in and see what's out there and experiment with some of the chat GPT. And again, with that red light, yellow light, green light, what are the types of things I can do? Because until you see it work and you see some of the things that it can do, it's really a hard thing to explain. The last thing I would say to you, and I'll just leave you with these, is experiment with it. Here are some prompt examples, and we can send these out to you, or your roundtable facilitator can provide them to you. But ask questions like this. Generate a list of behavioral interview questions tailored for a blank job, position focusing on these types of skills, and see what it gives you back. And you'll get a list of, hey, here's 20 questions. Pick the best ones, begin to edit them. You can look at it for creating job descriptions. You can consider it in terms of, hey, we're trying to get our folks more involved. Some are hybrid, some are in the office, and we just don't know how to get them involved. Can you give me some suggestions for boosting morale? Give me some ideas on onboarding and how we might go about doing that a little bit better. I'm trying to prove to the leadership in our organization that we're doing great things in HR. What are some KPIs that really measure our effectiveness so we can share them with some of our leadership so they understand what we're doing? And maybe just brainstorm some ways that AI can help you. And this is, again, an opportunity for you to figure out, all right, here's some ways that we might be able to save some time and do some different things. So I think you just have to sort of dig in. If you ever have any questions, this is my contact information. More than happy to help our members. We've been doing things in their companies to try to help them. And if you've got questions after your roundtable today, your facilitator can keep track of them. And I'd be happy to do my best to try to explain them. Thanks for being a part of the roundtable. And I hope you have a great discussion on AI today.